world, wishing you a very good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It has been a while, hasn't it, Marina, since we've had a chat online?
Yes, and I'm so excited we are here. I'm thinking, oh my God, what's next? What's next? Because you are going to tell us.
I am indeed. And it's interesting because the last time I spoke to you, I was traveling around the globe, if you like. And so in the last, where are we now? We're in November already, aren't we? So in the last 5 months, I've still been doing a little bit of traveling. So I went to Belgium. I was very humbled to be asked by Marie Diamond, who is from The Secret, the Feng Shui master on The Secret, to join the ATL group, which is the Association of Transformational Leaders in Europe. And I was like, what, me, Cheryl Chapman? I mean, I'm this woman who's only come to this kind of space, if you like, of personal development, 4 years ago, and really only got into it maybe 3 years ago, because for a year I was still trying to, put one foot in the world that I knew and trying to extend the other foot into the other world. And as you can imagine, at I would have been heading towards 50. That's a very uncomfortable place to be trying to do the splits. And so I was like, oh my gosh, she's asking me. Why is she asking me? But I went and I met some really great people, and they were just in exactly the same spaces. I think that you and I and Marion and everybody that is on Radio Works World as a host is, and that is, just trying to help everyday people, like me, like you, to just make the most of the time that we have here, on this planet. And I know that sounds a little bit highbrow, but that's really what we're all there for, isn't it? Just to get out there and help people. So I've been to Belgium, never been to Belgium in probably about 20 years. Went to the Parliament building there. I've got to be honest, I'm not really into politics. But as I said, met some great people, had some great food, some great conversations, and learned some more techniques to be able to use to help transform people's lives. And really, that's kind of where I am now in terms of, what is your why? Well, I know now that my why is to help people. It can be male or female, because just recently Marion and myself extended the Find Your Why Foundation so that we have the Live, Love, Laugh Lounge for the ladies and we have the Man Cave for the men. So we've extended it to the men, and the men are loving it. We're loving having them there, because I'll be honest, I thought maybe they wouldn't open up so much as the women, and maybe they'd be, yes, everything's great, everything's fantastic. But of course, we've attracted the right type of men who are willing to show vulnerability, who are willing to be open and honest. And I think if you have men or women who are in that space of, look, I'm stuck and I don't know what the problem is, then, we don't claim to know everything. But as I always say, Marion and I have been around for over 100 years. So we know some things, and we just want to share what we've learned. And that might be something that we just learned 2-3 weeks ago that we've tried and we know works on ourselves. Or it could be something that we've been working on for, 3 years in my case, or 25 years in Marion's case, because she's been around this space, for a lot longer than I have. But I really just wanted to say to the people who are listening, if you are transforming other people's lives, brilliant. I mean, it's such a fantastic space to be in. And if you are listening and you are being transformed by somebody else, then again, it's a fantastic place for self-development, for growth, for getting your confidence, and for just living the life that you were born to live, really. And I know, Marina, this is something that is very important to you, to help people to just be the person that they should be, isn't it? I know that's close to your heart too.
Yes, Cheryl, actually, I was thinking you're talking about opening the gates for men as well. And I'm thinking that they're so brave and they take so much on their self, and sometimes perhaps they don't even share with their immediate family, and they don't really have a place to go if they want to stop being in denial. And that leap of faith to trust somebody with your inner self, with who you truly are, is just such an act of courage. You really have to be brave at heart. I can't put it otherwise, you know. And today I've been helping people from different continents, helping them with crafting their message, to voice their message. And, you know, we are doing this by the way of putting everything into a book and speaking up. So I was really, really impressed by all of them. So there are 5 people today, and hopefully we'll meet them on the red carpet at the Authors Award ceremony in December, BAFTAs. But what I want to say is that there are men and women, and when I originally started this journey, I thought it's for people my age, because I can't teach. I could only share my own experiences, and I could only listen to my clients, to our listeners, to our radio hosts all over the world. And I'm a very good listener. But I just realized today that all my clients today from 5 different continents just happened. They are men and women in their early 30s. But they are so wise and they are so profound in their search. And when I come to that point when I'm telling them, look, life is what you make of it. It's not about finding, it's not about reinventing, it's not about creating even, you got it all. It's all about delivering yourself. So when I got to that point, they are already, so different people, they don't know each other and they're total strangers to themselves. And then they're going, wow. So that's why we call it the wow journey, when, of course, one of the way we repurpose the content of this journey is a book. And is very impressive how people, once they're in, once they realize they have it all, then is a total different, it's as if they have a fresh pair of eyes and they start looking at things straight away, like instantly, with a different attitude. And they're thinking, yes, I knew this, of course I knew this. So it's very hard to say, for me, I'm always thinking, I can't say I told you so, but I always start saying, look, writing a book is like riding a bicycle. Always look ahead. Don't look at the wheels. So then they're saying, oh yes, you are so right. I said, I don't want to be right. It's just that simple. Because as big as this transformation and change sounds, and complicated as might be for the people who are brave at heart and they take that leap of faith, and they get the guidance from you, from Marian, from amazing people of significance out there who are sharing their gift, their amazing genius with others. Once they get to know you, once they get to trust you, they get to trust themselves. So I was thinking, Cheryl, you know, in terms of transformational change, most people are coming from a very transactional space. Like I was coming from that space. I was a very to-do person. You will give me a list and I will just go like a bullet. I will tick every single box. I was very good at. But then when it came to my to-be list, I had nothing, absolutely nothing. And I felt lost. So it's strange how, you know, I call this progress. Took me so much, like 5 decades, to understand that actually I got nothing at all. After all this, I've been left with nothing. And for younger people, younger generation, my children's generation, to realize and wake up and awaken into this desire to be more instead of to do more. I think this is progress. This is wonderful. What do you think about this generation of people who are very young to be wise, but they want to be wise?
Well, it's really interesting that you mentioned that, Marina, because this week I'm going to speak at an event for the beauty house at Estee Lauder. And this kind of just shows the serendipity about what we're doing here, because you're right, I came from a very transactional background as well. You know, I'd buy something and then I'd sell it. And interesting, I still think that is true, except we're not buying anything because we have the knowledge that we've learned, usually the mistakes that we've made. in our lives, that we've found a way through. So the fact that you suddenly thought, oh, hang on a minute, I've got nothing on my to-be list. How do I start to do that? Well, you figured something out. So now you've got a way of helping other people that are at that spot where you were when you started this journey. So you can help them do it quicker, if you like. So I believe that there's still some transactions going on. It's just that it's our thoughts and our ideas that we put into a book, which is I mean, if anybody who's listening to this radio show hasn't done a book, and if you're thinking, well, what have I got to talk about? Well, if you're over the age of around about 20, you've probably had some of your life already, and I bet you've got some things to talk about and some things that you could help people who are 20 years and younger. So I don't think you're too young to start. And at the same time, if you're older, and and I was heading for 50 when I started this journey, and I've got clients that are in their 60s and 70s, and you're never too old to start either. So a book is a transaction, as in, here's a book and you can pay me for that, or we can exchange. I mean, whichever is the preference. So, book is definitely there, and you can make a program out of it, and you can make, a mentorship program out of it. You can do a one-to-one session. You can do one-to-many. You can do a retreat, because Marion and I are going to do a retreat in March 2017. And that came on the back of our ladies who were mentoring with us online saying, when are we going to meet you? And when's the next time, we could meet the other wise women and the, members of the Live, Love, Laugh Lounge. We almost got bullied into it by our tribe, really, because the ladies were like, oh, we want to meet you. So we did it, and we sold out in less than a week. But we weren't really, well, I suppose it's a transaction. They're going to come to us. They've given us some of their time and their precious time and their money. And of course, Marina, we were very, very blessed for you to sponsor that event, which meant that lots of people were able to be able to afford to come to the event. So thank you so much for that, and for your generosity when you came to see us. That's where that came about, because we were collaborating. And it's just that I do believe it is still transactional. It's just not in the same way, because it's now people are buying and coming to us because they want to change their lives and they know we have something. So it's the same. For me, it's still transactional. However, interesting that you said about the youngsters, because as I said, I'm going to do an event for Estee Lauder, and we're talking about the quarter life crisis. Wow. So not the midlife crisis,
wow,
the quarter life crisis, which is beginning in the 20s. And I mean, the definition, if you like, is a person who begins to feel doubtful about their own life, and they believe that it's brought on by the stress of becoming an adult. Interesting.
Very.
So, I don't know what becoming an adult means to other people, but I was thinking about this in preparation for the event, and I was thinking, well, maybe that's the stress of leaving one age group, so being a teenager. So when you get to 20, obviously no longer a teenager. I think I did try to coin the term twenteen when I was 20, but that didn't last very long. So it's the transaction, it's the transformation, if you like, from leaving that teenage year behind into adulthood. And I guess that the stress is being brought about because, I mean, how much can you not envy? I don't envy any 20-year-old having to try and get on the property ladder at the minute, because that's tough, particularly in England, although I know that there's always a way. And I know Marina would say, you can always have it when you want it. And I agree. But the thought of that with somebody who isn't in the space that we're in, so they don't know about how to be creative. It's all about being competitive, and they come from a place of lack rather than abundance. And that definitely was where I was 5 years ago. Everyone was competition and there was never enough to go around. And it's just not bloody true. There is plenty around there. Everything you want is already here. You just need to either move in the direction of it and deal with the paths that life give you and to make some choices, or you may believe that you can bring it forward to you. But either way, you've got to do something. So people can't just sit there and think that everything's going to come to them without any effort. And I think that's, a problem. But I also think it's the stress of the workplace. the stress of life that we have at the minute. You know, every single day we are like bombarded with millions, if not trillions amount of information. You know, and everybody wants everything yesterday. You know, I mean, Google is absolutely freaking awesome. You know, I can Google anything I want, and literally within a nanosecond, the answer is there. I mean, that's freaking hot shit. You know, I mean, that's like unreal if you think about just 20 years ago. So I think these kids, you know, that are growing into 20 to 30s, they've got all this pressure. But interestingly, it's the same solution, I believe, to quarter life crisis as it is to midlife crisis, except they have the opportunity to play at it for about 20 to 25 years before they hit midlife crisis. And the solution for me is it's all about the three things that we, Marion and I, work with our clients on in the Find Your Why Foundation, in the Live, Love, Laugh Lounge, and in the Man Cave. And that is, you've got to be aware of who you are, where you are right now, and why you are where you are. And until people understand that even pre-birth things can happen to you that will have a fundamental influence on your life, then they will stay asleep. Because if you cannot say to somebody, I need some help in finding out what is stopping me from being the person that I was born to be, then you will, I believe, remain in the dark and you'll remain asleep. So as long as these 20-year-olds, you know, as with the older ladies and the older gents that we work with, are ready to look with a fresh pair of eyes, you know, they're going to stay where they are. So they've got to have awareness, who you are, where you are, why you are where you are now, before you can even start to look at what you think your why is, as in why you're here. You know, what's your purpose? What's your life journey? And I do believe that we made a decision before we came here to choose a challenge for ourselves. I have no proof of that, of course. That's just a knowing that I have, a belief that I have. But once you know what that awareness is all about, then you can set your intention, because it's kind of like, okay, now I know why I'm here. Now I know what's stopping me. I can go for a bigger opportunity than I would have ever thought of before. And then finally we have our M, because these spell AIM, A-I-M, awareness, intention, and then manifest. Or as you know, I say, AKA move your ass. So you've got to get into action. You know, the amount of people I know, my clients and people that I coach all the time, you know, I'll say to them, I'd like you to do this, this, and this, and then I'll meet you at this time. And the excuses that people have is unbelievable. It's a little bit like going back to school. The dog ate my homework. It's been raining. So-and-so's been ill. I've been ill. And I'm like, you invested a lot of money and some of your time, so let's get on with it, because until you start putting this into action, nothing's happening. And I'm sure you get the same kind of feeling, you know, when you know, you're saying to somebody, look, come on the radio, talk about what you know, and we could create a book. And maybe they turn it once and twice, and some of them fall off the wayside, don't they, Marina? Bet you any money.
They do, and I got to respect that, because people are afraid of their own greatness, and is such a proof of what you just said, that you could Google anything and you could be on the sage basically of informations, but you can't Google your why. That's something that nobody is not outside you. It's not an earthly goal. It's not as if you want to buy a bigger house or a better car or a more expensive holiday. And your why, you are helping people to dig and dig and dig, and sometimes gets dark and it's quite frightening, but you are there for them. And that, I think, is such a privilege for me. The way you ask me that legendary question, what are you to next, Marina, that changed my life. And for people to have the chance to spend more time with you, imagine where they could go. I created this platform simply because through your question you allow me to think that actually I don't need anyone's permission. I don't need validation from anyone. I just need to go and do it and be. And I just think that this resistance people have, and I used to have that. Actually, I was totally oblique, to tell you the truth. I had no idea what a to be list means, and I'm so grateful that one day somebody I have it all, and I choose to believe it. Even I had no idea what on earth was he talking about. But when he said, "You have it all," I thought, okay, I have two hands, I have two eyes, I have my head, I have, yeah, so is that all? So yes, there is more, and what is more is inside, and it's a journey of your mind, a journey into your heart. And I always thought that if you could shorten, as a coach, if you could shorten that distance between your client's head and your client's mind, heart and your client's mind, it will be so much easier for them. But unfortunately, they have to do it for themselves. It's nothing anyone can do for you. You have to decide that now is the time, and now you are going to make a decision that is going to benefit you, nobody else, just you. But then you realize that if benefits you, benefits everyone, absolutely everyone, even the neighbors next door. It's just so contagious, and it's such a great spirit. It is the ripple effect. And the more people wake up, and the more people get to be kind to themselves and to be kind to others, the more of a humankind we manage to to survive, because it's a legacy. Like you said, this is not something you do for a living, this is something you do forever. And I was telling one of my clients today, he's very young, and he was saying, "Oh my God, I have a book." He was like, I said, "Yes, now you are linked to eternity. It's out there, and there is no looking back. Now you have to take responsibility for the journey, because the journey just started, and is a, like you said, is a journey into serendipity. You don't know where you are going. You just know you are going, and you are going full steam, and there is no looking back, and is no stopping now." This is that seed of greatness you plant in somebody's heart, so they could take it to their mind, and they could turn it into a problem-solving product, so they could offer it to the world. And I was keep saying today, "But look, you got this great gift, and it's not yours." And this lady, she said, "What do you mean?" He said, "If I'm talking a different language," and I know I do. But I said, "Look, it's your gift. This is your gift. It's something nobody, you could lose everything, but nobody could take this gift, which is yours, away from you. But actually, it's not yours. It's yours to to master it, to craft it, and make it better, and then bring it out. So whatever it is that is your gift, you have to take it very seriously." So I'm laughing about this most of the time, because it's almost like a bad joke. You had it all the time, and you had no idea you have it. So it's there. So that gift that was given to you at birth, that gift was given to you to bring it out into the world. It wasn't given to you to hide it, or put it under the carpet, or put it in a dark corner there at the back of your mind. So what I realized, Cheryl, is that the biggest challenge I used to have, and most people have, and perhaps with younger people it's a lot harder, more challenging, because they are obsessed with perfection. Everything is done, and is done so well. But the biggest challenge I see through this process, going from where you are to where you want to be, and growing your own wings, because there's nothing in between, is that you are the best kept secret.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what's more interesting, well, it's just as interesting, and Marina, and you're absolutely right there, is that we're the biggest kept secret from ourselves.
Yes.
And that's what's really sad. I mean, I've been reading, as I said, about the quarter-life crisis. And one of the problems, that's cited is that, people as we're growing up, and I think it was Erik Erikson who said that there were 8 crises that humans face during their development. and it's to do with coming out of young adulthood into adulthood, etc. And he said that basically what happens is people grow, they get a personal identity in adolescence, and then the young adults, what all they want is they want to form intense relationships with other people. I mean, obviously usually romantic, that's why we go off and try to find our life partner, etc. But the problem with that is that it doesn't happen for everybody. And so not just people who are not with people, by the way, but people, and I can speak from definitely from personal experience. I jumped into a relationship very, very early when I was young because it was just the done thing. And the minute that we got together, everybody wanted to know when we were getting engaged. And then when we got engaged, everyone wanted to know when we were getting married. And then, if we'd have got married, because we didn't in the end, but if we'd have got married then it would have just been, well, when are you having children? Because when I have been married, it's like, oh, are you having children now? It's kind of like it's a predetermined kind of route. But of course, these days it's different because, the millenniums, or I think they've even been termed as the Peter Pan generation, that's because they stay at home. They stay at home with their parents for longer because they can't afford to move out. So we're kind of they're delaying their adulthood in some respects because they're not going out and seeking these relationships, with new people. But interestingly enough, one of the a couple of things that were cited was that the common symptoms for quarter-life crisis are feeling lost, scared, confused, and lonely. And that's really interesting for me because that is exactly what we find when people are in the midlife crisis because, it's they don't know who they are anymore. They're scared because, maybe someone's died recently and it reminds them that, death of the body is going to happen. They're getting closer to that. They may be lonely because the kids may have left and, gone off on their own ways, unless, of course, they've still got children living with them because of what I've said before. But they're definitely confused. Because what is this all there is to life is what they're saying to themselves. Or, what am I here for? And it tends to be a bit more about life purpose in the midlife crisis, whereas it seems to be in the quarter life crisis, it's more about just trying to find your way in life. But both need to look at what's happened to them before they get to that stage of looking forward. Because you've got to look back and take a step back. And the only way you can do this, by the way, is you cannot do it on your own. You must have a mentor or someone to guide you. And you're absolutely right, Marina, when you said, friends and family don't understand, or they only give you the answers that they think you want to have. Or like the crabs in a barrel, and don't know if you've heard about that story, I'm sure you have, where, so I think it's spider crabs. If you put all the crabs into a barrel and one tries to get out, get away, they pull the crab down and pull their legs off and everything to keep them in the space where they are, because people don't like change. But, I'm interested about this quarter life crisis, not only because of the talk this week, but also just for the fact that I think that we need to do something about getting information to younger people in schools, even about the fact that they do have life choices. Because you're absolutely right, Marina, they do not know what greatness is within them. And that's that beautiful Marianne Williamson poem or quote that Mandela used for his inaugural speech, which is about, it's not the darkness that scares us, but the light within us that frightens us. Because we think, who am I to be beautiful, great, wonderful, marvelous? And as she said, who on earth are you not to be? We are like, it's unbelievable odds against us being here in this universe at this time, just being who we are. So, take the fact that we've been given such a unique, fascinating opportunity to be who we are. And whether or not you believe in reincarnation or life after death, this is the only time you will be who you are right now. So for me, it's like, I might have a different car next time. I might have a different vehicle next time when I come back. But I'm never going to be able to experience being Cheryl Chapman again. You're never going to experience being Marina Nani again. And our listeners are never going to experience being who they are. And I absolutely believe that they are freaking awesome. They just need to be able to find out what's already in them. And interesting, because I'm going to Estée Lauder, it suddenly dawned on me this morning about 3:00 that the the plan that Marion and I use, which is the aim to find happiness, A, awareness, I, intention, and M, manifest, or aka move your ass, is just a little bit like a beauty process. And I believe that life is about habits. So the more you do something, the more it becomes a habit. The more it becomes a habit, the more it becomes unconscious. And I can remember, being about 13 and being a bit spotty. And I remember the 3 magic words in the terms of beauty treatment, which was cleanse, tone, and moisturize. And it just suddenly came back to me this morning. And I thought, do you know what? That is exactly what we're doing with the AIM process, because we're cleansing, we're helping people to cleanse themselves of the shit and the crap and the grime and everything that's gone on in their lives, either consciously or subconsciously, that they need to get rid of before they can have a clarity of where they're going. And interestingly, if you use a cleanser or anything like that, your face can look absolutely clean, and then you put a bit of cleanser on the old cotton bud and it's filthy. That's a little bit like our lives. We've got stuff that's holding us back, baggage, just baggage and shit that holds us down that we don't know about yet. Then the toner, if you like this, so the tone is to be able to close up those areas of pitfalls, if you like, or pits in the skin where that grime and that dirt can get in. But if you tone the skin, it stops that getting back in. So the process isn't just a one-off process, it's an ongoing process, but it really does help you to understand what things to avoid, what people to avoid, and where to be, and be around the people that are the right people for you. And then finally, I just think that the moisturizing is being around the right people. If somebody is horrible to you, who disrespects you, you have a choice to say, fuck off, I'm not staying here. You don't have to say it in that way. You can just go, oh, is that the time? It's time for me to go. You don't have to stay around those people. Stay around people who are going to moisturize and nourish and give you everything that you need to be the opposite of lost, scared, lonely, and confused, whether you are 20 or whether or not you're 70. Be around people, be around mentors, be around like-minded individuals, be around, W.O.R.K.S world, because, Marina is freaking awesome, and she's just got a heart as big as the bloody universe, as far as I'm concerned, to be able to just tap into her brilliance and genius, for just like a few minutes is like life-changing. So I know that you always say that I said those words to you, Marina, and it changed your life, but you have helped me beyond expectation, because I had no expectation, of course, but just beyond imagination, because you are like such a firecracker of energy and positivity and just yumminess that I'm so blessed to have you in my life, and then you really do help to moisturize my life, if you like, as does Marion and my family, the people in the Wise Women community, the people in the Wise Men community, just everybody that I'm surrounded by now. I'm just so blessed, because I was in the place before where I was using cheap face wipes, and I'd got a lot of shit in my face, spots, dehydration, flaky skin, you name it. And I believe that your skin, as Jill Barron would say, is the window of your soul. So if you don't look brilliant, then there's something inside that's not quite right. So I'm really looking forward to speaking to Estee Lauder this week and sharing my cleanse, tone and moisturize with them, not for their face, even though that's what we see as the window of our soul, but for internal, because you're absolutely right, Marina. People's greatness is just hidden within themselves, and they don't even know how brilliant they bloody are. So the sooner we can get out there and help people just become awesome and really help them to light up the world, because we can't do it on our own. We can't do it on our own, and we shouldn't do it on our own, and we don't have to figure it out alone either, because we've got each other, and that's the way that it should be, because we are a human being, which is a community being, not something that just exists on its own. So there we are. That's my little discussion.
Wow. That is so powerful. So you are so spot on. It's like many times I was thinking, what is that, it's a process, but what is that 3 steps process? if you are to use a metaphor like you brilliantly put it, then it's so easy to see, and it's so easy to start doing that, and being that actually is the being exercise, and taking those 3 steps, and coming back to the people who you are with, and the fact that you feel lonely because you are with the wrong people. Just remember that you are never alone. There are always going to be somebody out there, somebody who is speaking their heart out. And at Radio Works World, we have Marian, we have Cheryl, we have everyone that is coming to share their story. They're all genius farmers, and they come and plant the seeds of greatness, and then they take care. Is as if you have an idea, and you are thinking of, oh, this is great, I'm going to do or be this, then you realize that takes work. That doesn't happen by magic. Actually, the only magic that I believe in, it's you. That miracle that you've been waiting for, it's you. You are the miracle the world is waiting on. And I don't know if I shared this with you before, Cheryl, but I've been speaking in front of people who go to church. And I made that joke that I only go to church to buy one, but it's true. so they were praying and saying, oh, God will give me this and that. And I got a bit upset, and I think they got very upset with me as well. But this is the truth. God gave you everything already. It's your time to be. It's your time to bring out that magic you have and make it happen. It's nobody who can be you. And I'm so grateful for what you said, and how you put it as a system, because most people, they have it all. They might even guess they have it all. They might even think, actually, I know this, I have this. But what they miss is the system. So what you are giving them is the system, which is transferable, and they put their own content into that system, and it works absolutely phenomenal, fast results.
Yeah.
I mean, that question you asked me completely changed my life and changed the way. Since then, I do not care what other people think of me. It's none of my business. For me, is what I think of myself. And do I give myself permission to go and dream big and dream bigger and bigger and bigger? Of course I do, because you told me, you just taught me a lesson for the rest of my life, and I'm going to pass that on to everybody I know. You do not need permission to move on. You do not need permission to distance yourself from the people who are hurting you and holding you back. You do not need permission to escape your dream and your vision, and endorse it and make it happen. Oh, I'm so grateful you found the time today, and I was so excited. I was thinking, oh my God. And this is why, because what you bring at the table is the table. Is you bring the whole table.
Thank you. And it's interesting that you mentioned about the fact that it's a system. Well, it is a system, because it's a system of steps. It's a system of getting into a new habit. And the reason why we've put it into a system is because it doesn't matter if I'm on the call, or if Marian's on the call, or if we're both on the call. We both know what the system is. So it's transferable between ourselves, which means that we don't have to do it on our own. It also means that my bigger vision, which is the 100-year vision, is that there will be wise women communities all around the world. And, I'll try my best to be around, in 100 years. But if I'm not, I know that the legacy that Marian and I have started will continue for generations and generations, because we can't stay asleep any longer. And you're absolutely right, Marina. We cannot be controlled by other people. We are in charge of ourselves. And only we are in charge of ourselves. So the sooner that we wake up to that, and the sooner that we start doing something about it, then the better. And if you are, I just urge you, if you're living a life where you are miserable and it's sad and you're lonely and depressed, then please contact us. Contact us, because you're not on your own in this world. We're not saying we can, change the world. We don't have a magic wand. But if we had a magic wand, what would you like to change? As part of the Find Your Why book, which is available on Amazon or from Cheryl-Chapman.com. I put a quiz in there for people to complete and send back to me. And part of the quiz is a question which is, on your bucket list, top 20 things. What would you like to? What would you do if money was no object? And some of the answers are, great things. Fly over New York, go buy an island in the middle of Thailand, or whatever it is. But some of them are really, cost effective things to do. Have a conversation with my daughter, or go and see my father and build the bridge that was created between them. And I'm like, just do it. What is stopping you? Marion has a great saying: build a bridge and get over yourself. She says that to me quite often, and she's absolutely right, because we just talk ourselves out of living the life that we should have. So it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you today, Marina. And no worry, I make time anytime. It's just that time just sometimes gets away with us, doesn't it? And we forget. So it's been a pleasure. I hope that we will continue to, change the lives of thousands and millions of people in the next. Well, if we're at midlife, we must have at least another half a life left, right?
Definitely. Awesome.
At least
the awesome part of life is about to start.
Yeah, the awesome part. Now we're awake. Geez, I'm only 4 years old. I've only been awake for 4 years, so I'm not planning on going anywhere soon.
Likewise.
So thank you so much, and thank you to the listeners at Radio Works World, and I hope they have a great life, a great weekend.
From both of us, be freaking awesome.
Absolutely. Live, love, laugh every day.
I already started.
Fabulous.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.